In this revision session, we're going to look at electric instruments and MIDI. So this is quite a big area, and it kind of encapsulates what we did in the last session with sampling and synthesizers as well. It just takes it a bit more down the route of electric keyboards and guitars, but it will overlap in many places. So as said previously, it's going to cover a multitude of instruments, but also we're going to be looking at performance techniques. You're going to need to take this lesson to kind of scrub up on your performance tech terminology and some of your production terminology as well. You will get more classical kind of terminology in this section when you're expressing kind of how things sound or how things are performed. So that is something you need to keep in mind. This is probably the only area where you will be asked very technical terms that are more kind of towards traditional music. The Edexcel student guide has a fantastic glossary of all the performance terms that you're going to need. So you should already have this, and if you turn to the back, you're going to get that guide, and you just want to kind of scrub up on those words and just make sure you've got them. That being said, what we're going to cover in this to get your planning underway, and remember, make sure you make good notes. Also, the Music Tech Revision Guide for AS has a fantastic section for electronic instruments and all the kind of development around that area as well. So that's also worth looking at, and hopefully you've got a copy of that. So the development of electronic instruments, the development of the electric guitar, the development of MIDI and the DAW, the digital audio workstation. Then we're going to just have a little brief look at the development of the amplifier, and once again a big part of this is going to be performance terminology. In this particular post, if you scroll down now, you'll find some videos, some articles, a whole bunch of quizzes, and again I've included about 4 or 5 questions from previous exams just to give you a rough idea of the kind of questions and how much they're worth for this particular area. And also, once again, you could get asked these questions both in section A of the exam and section B of the exam. It's not exclusive to just section A. So the kind of questions for this area, something like this, and they're probably a lot wider as well. It's not just restricted to this, but it's some ideas. So name two electric guitar performance techniques. Describe how the effect on the guitar from the recording you're hearing could have been achieved. Sometimes that's a multiple choice question. Sometimes you just have to describe it. Which of the following keyboards has a rotary speaker? So nice little multiple choice one there probably. Which of the following best describes the instruments being played at a particular time? This is slightly more harder. Which of the following MIDI CC controllers have been used? Now, back sort of when I started doing music technology, MIDI CC controllers were used all the time in a more common way, using the list editor where you'd actually have to type in the controller that you want. These days you don't see MIDI controllers very much. In your DAW you can still get to them. If you go to the list editor in Cubase or Logic, or any of them in fact, you can still get all of the controllers, and in Logic you have a little drop down that tells you the CC values of all of them. It's not going to be a massive area. Being asked about MIDI CC controllers is normally either not there or it's 1 or 2 marks. I would hate for you guys to lose those marks because you're not aware what a MIDI controller is. So definitely have a look at your own DAW and just try and find them, and try and find some of the more common ones. And then the common ones are normally listed in the first 10. And I think going any further than the common ones would be pretty unnecessary, but certainly have a good reference point of the first 10, what they do, okay? Once again, this is quite a broad area. Have a look through some of the resources, both from Edexcel and from musictechstudent.co.uk. Spend a bit of time, make some really good notes, and make sure you look at that student guide glossary and just scrub up on some of those terms that you're going to need. Okay, so I'll see you in the next revision session.